How are ya? Healer in you. I just want to talk a little bit about boundaries today. Hope you're doing okay. And the big thing about boundaries is, it seems like it's like this term that people use, but nobody's really using boundaries, which is really odd because boundaries is one of the most important things in have. So when we talk about boundaries, we think about, well, we don't want to impose on somebody else with our boundary. We want them to feel comfortable around us. Maybe that's why people don't really discuss boundaries. But if people had boundaries, there wouldn't be, and if it was more well talked about, then there wouldn't be so many problems, right? People stepping boundaries or not knowing what the boundary is. And that's why they overstep that. That's the idea that people don't understand what the boundary is. And there were like boundaries that people naturally had, like let's just say like 100 years ago, that people have completely gotten rid of. Like for instance, people wouldn't knock on somebody's door around dinner time. There used to be things like that. And you would actually call ahead of time. And it wasn't like a phone call. It was like you spoke to somebody ahead of time. You sent them a note to let them know who'd like to come to their house to speak with them, and then they'd reply with a note. And so there's actually somebody like a runner that would bring the notes back and forth. So you wouldn't even go to somebody's house. That's got the okay from this note saying it's okay to come to our house today at this time. And then even then, there would be so many mannerisms you'd have to do, like take off your hat when you walk in the door, only sit in the meeting room, like you wouldn't go in someone's kitchen, you wouldn't, go upstairs in their room or something like that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we got to a place where you didn't really have to state boundaries back then because people were respectful. But part of the problem is that people aren't respectful and there aren't boundaries and there aren't virtues of innocence or the golden rule. So no one even speaks about the golden rule. If you ask the children in elementary school today what the golden rule is, maybe some of them don't know what it is. So because of that, there's a lack of respect for oneself as well, because they don't know where to draw the line, because there aren't any mannerisms, customs. And that's why people, when they go to other countries that are really traditional still, and they still hold to those values, they think, oh, that country is like, well, they're still holding on to their traditions, but and there's good and bad with that, of course. But the idea is they're way more respectful than, let's say, in America. And it's really a problem. So if we stop with our boundaries, we can start respecting ourselves and have other people respect. But I'll tell you something right now. So offended by boundaries, they really are offended because people think they should have free reign to anything they want. And they don't understand boundaries. They think what's yours is theirs. They don't necessarily think what's theirs is yours. They definitely have this entitlement problem, and especially the younger generation. And if you have something, they should be able to participate in it or take it or have it as well. Or you have something and I don't have that. No, it's mine. Or we're in some kind of a relationship. We're family. So that means you owe me part of your whatever you have. And I should be able to come to your house and do it. All kinds of basic guidelines and things like themselves because they have entitlement issues. So what you're dealing with is entitled people with entitlement issues who make it even more necessary for you to have boundaries. So, like, parents should require children to set boundaries. That'll help with the stranger danger thing, right? If children have good boundaries, they're less apt to be stolen. You need boundaries and it's not optional. Unfortunately, others think your boundary should be wavering. So as soon as you institute a boundary, people are like, whoa, wait a minute. It's mostly because they're used to doing things a certain way. So at first it feels out of line for you to have a boundary. Like, why are you treating me this way? We've always been good friends and we're not yeah, point of view. So you might just explain to them that, I really believe that I need to have boundaries because I wasn't having them before. And I feel uncomfortable with people feeling like they can, you know, I don't know, treat me like however they want. Like I'm becoming a pushover, so I don't want to be a pushover. Like say something like that, right? Make it really kind of throw it in there superficially, like so that way they don't really take offensive to it. So 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 when you set boundaries, make them clear and keep them. Don't waver, because this will cause others to keep pushing or wavering and never take your boundaries. It's important that once you make it like of this, there's no okay. Because one thing I can get down after a while, well, yeah, we're doing it. Calling you. That one time they say, okay, I'll do it. That's it. You just took your own boundary out. It's no more. They're not going to respect your boundary if you put it up again. So keeping boundaries is really important on your end, more for you to hold the boundary than it is for them. Boundaries are everywhere and they should be important. Families can require but yeah, that's another thing. Family thinks they have all free reign on you, your life, information. You should be telling them everything that's going on in your life. That's false. There's no reason why just because you're related to somebody that they need to know everything about what's going on in life. That's ridiculous. Think about it. It probably their titles, right? Thoughts, proclamations, your people is there's a problem there. So you need to set strong boundaries with family. You'll probably need to set stronger boundaries with your family. The boundaries are for your health. So they're infringing on your privacy, which is causing you to almost tense up and have to get on guard, which causes like your nervous system to get you to be feeling like there's danger. And so you're constantly having feelings because you are intimidated by somebody asking for it. Have you seen the weakest animal in a pack? The poor thing is sick and dying. It's unable to protect from the rest of the pack. There's there's this idea that don't have that you can stomach the pack. Whether you do or not, sometimes you're like, hey, uh, blah, blah, blah. That too. But the whole idea is that you just keep your boundaries up. You won't end up like a sick person, a sick league, that everybody's able to look at. Don't think of your past. They will want to have a cat coming after you if you're being gang stalked. You have to have strong boundaries. Animals don't play when it comes to their boundaries. They have no empathy and are in protection mode, right? Look at these animals. They're not thinking from an empathetic way. They're not human beings. They're without the human intelligence, so they're working as some credit. They live a way that draws defense because of credit. So that's really in actuality right now with these entitlement issues and all of the type B personalities, you really need to act as if you're in protection mode. If you can protect yourself with your boundaries, you don't have to go into hyper vigilance for your nervous system and your immune system and your brain and everything's has to like step in and protect yourself, right? Which will eventually cause anxiety. So if you have these boundaries up like an animal does, you'll know when someone's ready to cross them, and there's no need for you to jump into protection mode to have your boundaries.
This is the attitude to have. Protect your heart and your health. Don't rationalize your boundaries. Birds have boundaries. Okay, so little things like birds have boundaries. Like they fight off other birds. No, don't come near a mother bird's nest, right? We're liable to. I don't. Animals mark their territory. This that right across. Like animals set their boundaries. They mark their territory, and the other animals smell it, and they're like, "Oh, okay. Like I don't know if I want to mess with this, right?" So they're like, "Oh, that's why state your boundaries clear, and if needed, again and again, until you need to have a warning. So number one, you need to state your boundaries. Number two, after you've stated that, now you need a warning. Say they have to go no. So state your boundary, make it clear. You might have to say it again. Yeah, you might have to your boundary. Just state it, say it again if you need to. And then after that, you warn them kindly. And then you might have to tell them, look, if this can't be worked out, if you can't respect my boundary, then I'm going to move away from you. I'm going to not have these interactions anymore. I'm going to go no contact. I'm not going to answer your phone calls. We're not going to get together like we've been getting together. And that's it. Because these boundaries are important to me. See, you're not that's a good sign that you need to go no contact. And if somebody cares about you, wants to spend time with you, and wants to enjoy your company, and you're enjoying theirs, they want feedback. Okay. A healthy relationship has feedback. So, oh, you have this boundary. You don't want me to come over at midnight, or you don't want me to text you at 1 o'clock in the morning after, I have got something important to tell you. And you're like, no, I don't want you to text me at 1 o'clock in the morning. Please don't. And so they're like, oh, okay, I won't text you at 1 o'clock in the morning then. And they're a good friend and they care about you. So when you're dealing with somebody who doesn't care, you told them, I don't want to talk to you. You've been verbally abusive. You've been rude. You don't hear me when I talk. I told you I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. Our relationship is over. We are not friends. What has happened is unfixable. It can't be repaired. We're done. And so you go no contact for the last resort. That person, they'll keep calling and texting anyone. Trying to you can tell them. It's like someone being happy. Okay, no one's gonna do that. They care about you and keep calling you. You told them, look, I go to bed at this time. I don't want to talk to you after that. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock. Don't call me after 9 o'clock. They won't. You don't really have to worry about it because it's really respectful people. When you put up a boundary, they'll hold to it. So you're dealing with toxic people or understand to your boundary, or they just want to keep pushing the limits. So when you go on no contact, then you don't put yourself in there too. It's important on your end, no contact, or it's still contact is 90%. Like we're not gonna go where they are. You may not talk to some of the people they talk to. You're gonna block their number. You're not going to send them any emails or anything. It's like no contact. You're not going to contact them at all. And you're not going to allow them to contact you. So it's almost 100% inside your end. So that's what I wanted to talk about and how important they are. Because if you're healing, you need to get rid of any distractions. So you might be feeling like, oh, I'm starting this routine at night where I take a bath and I go to bed early. I don't have my phone on. And so somebody who you used to talk to maybe every night at 8 o'clock, that's calling you like, well, you know what? I can't do that anymore. I need to, start this bedtime routine. You might feel like you need more rest, calm down, or whatever it is. Curb your anxiety just to make sure that you're in bed. And so you explain to that person. But the whole reason why you're doing this is because it's for your own health. Okay. So these are reasons why you do it. You might want to implement a new schedule. So you tell somebody that I don't want to talk to you. It's forever. And so that who is actually going to respect your boundaries. Someone who respects your boundaries, they don't want full access to your life. Now, someone who wants to disrespect your boundaries wants full access to your life. So that's the difference. You'll find that out. You've got to like take care of yourself, put yourself in your healing or your relationship. And then if you have a relationship that wants to come beside you while you're healing and do some things together, and you can work on healing together, well, that's going to be great. But that's how you're going to weed the people out who you need to get rid of and who you need to, actually walk on the healing journey. But if you are healing, you want to bring other people with you. Okay. Thank you.